Hello, welcome to Native Yoga Center. My name is Todd McLaughlin, Chaturanga and shoulder pain. So, is it possible to practice Chaturanga and not have shoulder pain? The answer is yes. I have good news for you today. It is possible, but the way that the answer is yes is that we got to learn how to do Chaturanga where it doesn't create pain. I mean, it's that obvious, it's that simple. But let me just point out a couple of things that are helpful in this field. So, shoulder pain. Shoulder pain can be diverse in what is causing the pain. For example, it could be a strain to the muscles, such as the long head of the biceps. We might have a little bit of tendonitis in this area here. There's things that are called rotator cuff. There's four main muscles that make up the rotator cuff. There could be a little tear in one of the muscles that make up the rotator cuff. We also have things such as bursitis. There can be an inflammation deep within the joint capsule, and that can cause the discomfort. So to keep things really simple, broad and general, what is important is to modify or monitor how much pressure you are placing into your shoulder joint when you are attempting to do Chaturanga Dandasana. Chaturanga Dandasana means four-limb staff pose. You have four limbs, 1, 2, 3, 4. A staff pose, you have a stick with your body, a staff from your heels to your shoulders, and then we come down, and it's commonly called a low push-up position. So in vinyasa and Ashtanga yoga, we do a lot of Chaturanga. And so a really common pain point are the shoulders. So if you are experiencing shoulder pain, what I recommend is that you, one way that you can do this, eliminate the Chaturanga for a little while. And how do we do that? Well, one option is that when we come back into our high push-up, or we can always modify it by coming on our knees, instead of bending the elbows at all, you go into an easy style up dog from here and into a downward dog here. And so the first thing I'd like for you to discover is, do you feel pain when you are in upward dog and or down dog? And or is it only when you do Chaturanga? If you find that you are able to practice an upward dog, no pain. A downward dog, no pain. But when I go Chaturanga, I feel pain. Now, that's a good indication that there is some inflammation going on with the long head of the biceps, which attaches onto a site called the infraglenoid tubercle. And so it can be, usually you'll feel like you press right here in the front of the joint now, and you feel pain. Now, that is something that I recommend. What we do then is don't do a high push-up. Do a kind of medium high push-up. In other words, come down on your knees, bring your body a little forward, and bend your elbows just a little tiny bit. Just a little bit. And that's it. That's your Chaturanga. The idea is to only lower down as much into the Chaturanga as you can do while keeping stability within the structure of the shoulder joints, your arm strength, and this way you go just to the point where you start to feel a little something, and then you push and you come back off of it. Because what we want to do is develop, we want the body to start to get to the point where it can sustain and hold with zero pain while doing it. Now, if you come here and you come in and you feel some pain, even with a little tiny elbow bend, sometimes I advise practitioners, students, to stay away from the Chaturanga altogether until the inflammation goes down. And then the key is that once you've gotten to a point where you're relatively pain-free, you then start to come back to the Chaturanga practice, but very gently, very slowly, applying pressure at a very moderate, slow pace, and is building strength in this realm here. Now, another thing that I think definitely try to avoid doing is this thing where we see the hips up in the air, the shoulders down really low, and the elbows up higher than the shoulders. That's a classic recipe for straining the long head of the biceps area of the shoulder. And so really what's important in this one is to try to bring the shoulders down, but don't let them dip below the level of your elbows. So here they're about level and here they're below. Don't go below, stay up high, even stay way high, and cultivate the strength around the shoulders in that higher up position. Now, another great way to practice the chaturanga, in my opinion, and one I love to do all the time regularly now, especially once you accumulate 20 plus years of vinyasa practice, 5, 10, 15, 20, beyond 25, 30 years of practice, you realize you don't need to do it like that all the time anyway. So what you can do is you just come down onto your belly. You do it, inhale into a cobra, or maybe you go to the up dog if you feel no pain in this angle. And then you just move back into your downward dog. So again, you're just going to touch your knees. There's a lot of strength potential here in this process of lowering your hips down toward the ground and letting the rib cage come. Again, if you go to do this and it's still excruciating, I don't think you should be anywhere near this. If you can do that and it feels good, you're on the right track. Just by going in this motion over and over again, where you think of like the reverse worm, where you come down slowly, go segment by segment, touch, and when you come back, reverse order, segment by segment, engage the arms. Now, there's a lot of debate in yoga circles about everybody tells you to pull your elbows into the body, but do you really want to pull your elbows all the way into the body? It's okay to have a little gap with your elbows out to the side. And then you'll hear other people say, never let your elbows flare out to the side. The only way you should do it is keeping the elbows in. I think to answer this question is through experimentation, feel your body and see what actually works for you. It's a novel idea, right? All right, so with that being said, I'm going to face forward so it'll be easy for you to see my elbows. I might decide to go the elbows in really close style. That feels pretty good. Let me try going out elbow wide style. No, I'm not as big a fan of that one personally. I'm a little bit more of a fan of this one here. So I've determined a way that works for me that doesn't hurt. That's key. You have to take the next leap to the world of how do I feel? It's okay how I feel. And I'm going to work on what I can do within the realm of where I'm at right now. So I think that's a really critical point to turn the corner with when learning chaturanga, and just have fun with it. And, you know, it's a process little by little. You just kind of work steadily. Let me know if that gave you some pointers and tips. And I really appreciate you joining in. Remember, check me out on my website, nativeyogacenter.com. Follow me on our social channels at Native Yoga. And check me out on our podcast, Native Yoga Toddcast. Learn so much there, interviewing professionals all around the world in the field of yoga. And generally speaking, I hope you have a wonderful day, and send me a question and I'll be happily will answer. Namaste. Woohoo.